So if you don't drop that by like Valentine's Day, you got to save it. I can't see Drake waiting that long to drop something that's going to be that.
All you hear from every spot is the Baby album. That's all you hear. The Young Thug track is here. The Glow song is over here. Like,
numbers like freaking Tweakers at 3 million on YouTube, and it was surpassing some tracks on Lil Baby's album.
all right, let's relax.
So, I mean, on YouTube, that's what they showing.
Let's relax.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? And welcome to a fresh episode of Billboard Unfiltered. Gentlemen,
Happy New Year.
happy
go.
fucking New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
2025, folks.
Somebody that decided to bring in the chaos from 2024 into 2025, Mr. Aubrey Graham.
Surprise.
Drizzy, Drake, Rogers kicked off 2025 with Conductor Williams freestyle, the Fighting Irish Freestyle, 3 minutes long. Had some bars in there, I'd like to say. Social media went into a tizzy over the freestyle. Had some choice words. A lot of people pointing the finger saying he may be going after LeBron James.
Clearly going out.
We don't know.
Yes.
Who else was on? Who else played for the Fighting Irish?
There's a lot of guys. DeMar DeRozan possibly caught astray. And then also, obviously, the fake DM that came out yesterday. If you guys missed it, there was a DM going around. Drake talking about the whole UMG situation. DJ Academics came out and said that Drake DM about Not Like Us UMG was fake, and was AI is a scary thing, man.
Very scary.
It was AI generated.
Yeah.
I will say it reads fake to me.
But
Like,
I feel a butt coming.
and I'm just no, but it's just like, yeah, it doesn't look real, doesn't sound real, doesn't sound like how Drake talks either all the way. And also I just don't believe that he'd be discussing stuff like this in Instagram DMs. Like,
Right.
that's just like not
This
believable.
guy's a multi-millionaire who has been successful for over a decade.
Preach.
Has a staff of lawyers around him, a staff of business managers around him. There's no way in hell this guy, Drake's made some missteps, but there's no way in hell that he would just randomly tell somebody. Me and Universal's like if Nike was funding a campaign about LeBron cheating on his wife.
Yeah,
It
that's
sounds like Azalea Banks. It does
on
not sound
text. It's
like
kind of
Drake.
crazy.
Like,
Well, that's the part. Is like he knows now. Anything that he says puts in any writing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the potential for leak and TMZ exclude. I mean, like people. Anything you say, if you say hi, somebody gonna sell that shit. Like, damn, Drake texted. He said, hey, like you got to be smarter than that.
For a guy who raps about not trusting anybody, like I believe he would not trust somebody with this information via text message. Also, it makes it seem as if the shit that Kendrick said was true. He's like, this is like if someone said this about this person. I'm not saying I did it, but it's like, bro, there's no way there's absolutely no chance this was real. But it definitely made everybody start making up fan fiction for a good 24 hours.
I do have a question for you guys because, this has been a thread right now on the internet regarding Drake. Do you guys feel like, he is taking on this victim role? And then just the overall thoughts on the freestyle itself.
If you sue your label, I know the story is that this lawsuit was in the works already, and it's not wholly based on the outcome of the beef, but the timing says otherwise, or alludes to it being otherwise. I don't know, man. You sue your label because you say that they helped your opponent beat you. It's kind of you taking the victim role.
Yeah, I feel like it's less a question of like if he's taking the victim role and like whether or not we like it. I actually don't mind it. Like I feel like if you're gonna do it, and maybe you take it to really interesting places. I don't think an interesting place is LeBron James though, and I think that's where my gripe with the freestyle was, because I thought it was some really great rapping, some of the best rapping we've heard from him in recent months.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't waste this on LeBron James right now. Like, it just feel like there are more important things that he needs to be addressing culturally within himself that he does talk about a little bit throughout the songs, but like LeBron,
He's definitely the best.
he's still tatted on you, bro.
song.
Like,
I mean, but to that point,
it's like, unless you have booked the appointment to remove that tattoo, I actually don't really give a fuck what you have to say about him on
but
this
that's
track.
probably why he's hurt. To the point that, yo, we family, bro. Like,
Then call that nigga. Like, the hell you, like, what?
yeah, people are trying to say, like,
He's not
LeBron,
my thing is, like, he's not a musician. Like, this would be
right.
more interesting to me if LeBron would just hop on a track and respond, but that's not going to happen. So, like, I'm not interested in what he's offering right now in this.
Like, if LeBron hopped on a song and was like with Kendrick and was like, "Yo, fuck you, Drake," sure. But to be upset that he's like dancing to a record or he's like enjoying a record, come on, man. Who didn't like Not Like Us besides you?
Oh, Man of the Garden is good. Not Like Us is good. Drop some heat. Like, the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, there were talks that LeBron had allegedly tried to reach out to Drake, and Drake has just been getting every chance to talk to him.
Which is like...
that hurt runs deep.
I get it, you know.
I don't get it.
Apparently, you know, LeBron got to retire his summer traditions, and he not going to be in Toronto for Caravana after, like, a decade and shit. But, like, that's sad. That sucks. Y'all should call each other and figure this out.
Grown man shit.
Like, this is not a musical thing I think we need to be bringing into 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see where Drake goes from here. He teased that more records with Conductor are on the way. He does have his Australia tour going to kick off February 9th, same day as Kendrick's performance at the Super Bowl. So let's see.
Quick question for y'all.
Hilarious.
What do you guys think the potential impact of this P&D collab album would be now? I feel like it might have done something a bit more, like in Q4 last year. I don't know how it lands, as in like Drake is setting the tone for his year with this collab album. If this is the first full length release that we get from him.
So you know what's interesting? I think he might push back this Party album because I saw Party tweet P5.
Oh,
so maybe Party's gonna start putting the focus to P5,
and
Drake's like, you know what?
I mean, to be fair, P4, you know, it obviously, you know, debut top 10. You know, some of the songs make it to the morning. You know, Resentment. Some of the things are floating probably better than like a Party single in a long, long time. So you know, just from Party individually, Party's really having a moment. So that kind of makes sense to try to capitalize on it, whether it's something new, whether it's a deluxe, an extension, or whatever. To the point about the Drake and Party tape, I mean, sonically, because he was talking about, we don't know what it sounds like, obviously, but it was supposed to have a fall vibe to it. So I assume something that's kind of slower, something a little more cozy. So if you don't drop that by like Valentine's Day, you got to save it. Like, I mean, if you're gonna have if you're gonna do like more of a, you know, sort of, I don't know, island inspired up tempo kind of spring or something, summer something, okay, sure. But I also think like I can't see Drake waiting that long to drop something that's going to be that. I mean, even with this Fighting Irish Freestyle, every time we hear something from Drake, you know, it sort of waters down the impact, I think, of what that next major project is going to be, because it's not like we haven't heard from him in a while. It's not like, you know, the anticipation is going to be Drake's been quiet for 6 months. We know he's building up the arsenal. We know he's ready to strike. So if he doesn't drop this tape, and I think, you know, I think people kind of look at that as a little weird of a choice now, it feels like the new thing has to be a full response. That's whether it's revenge mode, whether it's, you know, back on my pop, you know, run the table shit, whatever the fuck it's gonna be. It probably needs to be Drake by himself and just set the tone that you the nigga again, and I run this game, and I run these charts, and I run these streams or whatever, and you had your little year, and that was cool and that was fun, but like, nigga, I run the game. That's the approach that I'm looking at. I just, you know. And then I don't
know, man. Heat is heat. Like, if you got heat, drop the heat.
Yeah. But I think people want heat. Like, I don't think people want like singing heat.
I
think people want like music. Bullet heat.
I think people are just like desperate for good Drake music. Like this, the Fighting Irish Freestyle, like people, it was the best received Drake song in a long time, and you know, I was surprised it got taken down because the response to it was so good. And I think people are just like thirsty for the Drake that they love. Like this was like a new Drake song, but it's still a Drake song that, you know, if it's so kind of, we know who he's talking to, but it's still so kind of obtuse in the Drake way that it could have dropped like any year. You know, he's like the themes are the same, which people are like, oh yeah, this is what I love about Drake. Like, this is the bag that I like him. And I think if he has like a fire P&D album, let that shit go. Like, bad music's not gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
If it's bad, you know, that's another story. But hard for me to believe that him and P&D would make a bad album.
Yeah.
Together.
I
So
agree. I think we just gotta wait and see. I think this bodes well for my 2024 or prediction I made in 2024. 3 Drake projects. Just need Future to get it together. But we will wait and see. We're only a week and a half in, so
We can get a Vibes Cartel joint mixtape.
with Drake, if Drake
That
manages,
could be a
if he
secret weapon
gets
move right
vibes,
there.
if he gets a Vibes album, I might
He's
be.
back.
I'm like that's it. I might.
That's all I can say.
I
that's
might,
the one right there.
I mean, that's some spring summer shit that would go hard.
Like, what?
That's a
Hats
money.
off.
Yo.
That's a money project right there. Quick shout out to Mr. Kyle Dennis.
Yeah.
Cover story with
Appreciate
Vibes
y'all.
Cartel. Make sure you guys check that out.
Yes.
Billboard.com. We know which side he's on. Team the boy. So
Basically,
that
which
would
I
be
mean,
a-
I was a little
Yeah.
shocked at, but not like super shocked because of Drake's affiliation with Popcom, but the fact that my man said, I don't even listen to Kendrick, so I wouldn't know. What does he rap?
I don't know.
It
either.
was funny to keep my face straight during that moment because I was like, you have a song with Fabio Foreign.
Yeah.
You know who Kendrick
He said,
Lamar is. So I'm like,
what does he rap is hilarious to me.
What does he rap?
What does he rap?
And then he proceeded to just go ahead and rap God's Plan, so he really do be writing for Drake. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Drake saw that and was like, yes.
he said Drake is more in tune with Jamaican the culture. He's a bigger and better artist. I said, damn, you just driving the knife into Kenny's back.
I
That's
mean, hey.
crazy.
I mean, he's from Toronto. Toronto is like, like
The
Brooklyn.
West Indy connection and
You know,
so
it's like
yeah.
the second Brooklyn.
And Drake
in
and Vibes
terms
go
of-
back. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if Vibes and Kendrick have any kind of overlap at all.
That's
Yeah.
the loyalty he wanted from LeBron. You
Mm.
see? That's
See
the
how-
one he
See,
wanted.
there we go.
That's so you do it.
You see how it all comes back around?
See LeBron take notes. Vibes
Yes.
Cartel knows what loyalty is.
I will say this is interesting though. Before we go and pivot, Find Your Love, shot in Jamaica. Movado
Yeah.
was in the video.
Yeah.
If you are in tune with the
Yeah.
culture, Movado vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Not the best of friends.
But they're besties now.
We love it.
Yeah,
Peace.
they've made up.
He
At the
wanted him to
time.
come out.
Yes.
Yeah,
He wanted him
which
to come out at the
means-
show, but Mavado was not in town.
Which means LeBron and Drake could maybe reconcile.
There's always a chance.
I think LeBron and Drake are gonna be fine.
Yeah,
I think.
that really is the reason why I'm so like over this before it really has begun. Y'all are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's actually a world in which like there's a legitimate rift between them that lasts multiple years.
You have a
Like,
tattoo of the man on your body.
Black Peace.
Like, that's
I'm
your
here
boy.
for it. One thing I am a fan of. I'm curious to hear y'all thoughts about this new Lil Baby album. Wham! Kicking off 2025. Lil Baby's back.
Oh, he's back, all right.
According to Mr. Damien Scott.
Number one album.
Potentially. We're looking at a potential.
Potential. Look.
What's the?
Potential number
let us
one
know.
album.
Well, there's a lot of look. Obviously, the Bad Bunny album came out last week. It came out on Sunday, so that kind of messes up the tracking a little bit for him, just because he's not gonna have all 7 days. But the Bunny stuff has been, streaming really strong. The Baby stuff, like it seemed to start out the week pretty strong. But I think the streams for like Dumb Dumb and Dumber and a couple other tracks haven't quite kept that same level over the course of the week. So could be one of those things where, you start off right, but maybe he catches up by the end. Don't forget SZA, SOS, with the Lana Deluxe, number one the past couple of weeks. That's gonna be pretty steady as well. So all three of those things, in the mix right now. So it's not really a runaway for anybody. So
Okay.
I mean, his last two were number one, so obviously I'm sure the team would hope and look for that. But SZA, Bad Bunny, that's some tough competition. So
Let's get some context for Baby. This album, 15 tracks, heavy hitters. Verse Young Thug, verse Post Jail on Dumb Dumb and Dumber, which also features Future, Redbone with Glorilla, record with Travis Scott, 21 Savage. He just put out the extended version of Wham, 4 tracks, which is direct to customer. You could listen to it on the site, not on streaming yet. 4 extra tracks, also features one with Future.
trying to get them album sales.
I ain't mad at it. So, despite that all sounds good, the reviews online haven't been the best.
The reviews online or the reaction from
reactions?
fans?
The reactions, I should say.
Not
The
even fans, the reaction from people on social media.
Right. The fan reaction hasn't been the best. But if you're Damien Scott, this is a fucking banger. Please tell us why.
I think
album of the year.
I think it's a good album. I don't think it's, it's not my high watermark album for him, but okay. I think coming off his last project, I think this is really strong, and I think he's like regaining his footing. Just in Atlanta with some Billboard staffers for work. Get off the plane. My flight was wild delayed, so I get in at like 12:30. Airport's closed. Everyone's like fucking closing up and shutting down. So it's just like the workers there. It's like all young people like closing up. Shit. All you hear from every spot is the Baby album. That's all you hear. I'm walking through the airport. I have my fucking headphones on. I take it off and I'm like, yo, the Young Thug track is here. The Glow song is over here. Like everyone that's working at the airport right now, because no one's around to tell them to turn it off, they're all like blasting this album. Like I wish I recorded it, because I was like, everyone on Twitter last week was like, man, this is whack. But I'm like, in this guy's city at the airport, right, and people are blasting this shit, like, and that's a big indicator. It. So, is it a classic? No, but is it? I think it's a strong offering that, I think will be looked back on as maybe the top half of his catalog, maybe.
And My Turn is very, very high.
Yeah, I mean, My Turn's amazing. Like, I told you, it made me go back and listen to the album with him and Dirk,
Voice of the Heroes,
which I was like, I love that album so much. And the energy on that album is like missed. And I think that's like one thing that we don't get on this album. It's just like, even the verse he had on that Drake song, when everyone was like, holy shit, this kid's next.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like
wants and needs.
Unbridled energy is just not there anymore. And I think that's what a lot of people loved about him. It was like, it just felt like he was so immediate, and so good project.
Okay.
Not the worst.
That's fair.
To the point of the album, like, okay, when I heard it through, yes, I wish there had been probably more variety. Like when I look back at some of the albums of 2024 that really, I guess, set the tone. I'm thinking in particular off the top, Glorilla, Kendrick, Tyler. I think one of the things that made those albums so successful, just really out of the gate, is the variety of sounds and guest stars that they brought through. One of the things that I was looking at with this Baby album, in particular, I know he's dropped a couple singles and things. I was trying to see, like, okay, what are the songs that sound like, okay, this one's easily gonna pop. You probably, of course, go to the first ones that have the features on them. I'm not even necessarily sure that, like let's take Glow, for example, because Glow's on a crazy ride. I'm not really sure that I think, the Glow record is like the one to pull out, and, that's an instant radio
That was
single.
A disappointment, Redbone.
I think, obviously the Thug and Future one will probably be, like, we ain't heard Thug in a minute, we know Future does well. So I think that might be the case. That one's streaming the best.
So I think what's interesting, and Kyle, maybe you can help me out here. Baby was somebody who we had put on that potential next generation of artists to lead the way for the 2020s. Where did that all change?
I want to say the album immediately following My Turn. Was that the one with Hey on it?
Yeah.
So it's Only Me.
I think it's Only Me. I think it really was that, where it was at that point, I was looking to Baby to see where he would push himself.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be like Lil Baby links up with Conductor Williams and gives us like, it didn't have to be anything that drastic. But where are you pushing yourself lyrically, like tonally, as you said before? Maybe we get a couple new cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that on It's Only Me, and I'm not getting that on this record. I listened to it again this morning, and I liked that listen more than my first two times. But I think my biggest issue with the record was a lack of statement tracks. There weren't many songs where I was like, oh, this is an instant, I want to run this one back, or I'm going to remember to pull this one out and put it on a playlist afterwards. Everything was fine, good, listenable, but I wasn't really getting the urge to go back and press replay on these tracks, which made me kind of sad, because like, this is the guy who gave me Emotionally Scarred. Like, this is the guy who gave me We Paid. Like,
classic record,
he has some stone cold, incredible records that he's capable of making. and I wasn't seeing that all the way on this one. And for someone who we were putting on that, new class, new Gen Pantheon, like, he needs to be doing that for me to keep him in those conversations. And I want to see him doing that. So it's not even like a fuck baby, but it's more just like, I think you can go a little bit harder than where you're at right now. And maybe that just means you lock in with a new EP, a new executive producer on the next record, someone who can steer you in a more streamlined direction. Because I think he's in the right direction. This wasn't a long album with 41 minutes, something like that, 15 tracks. Tight, I thought the first half was much stronger than the first half of It's Only Me. So he's making progress in terms of sequencing and stuff like that. So like Dame said, it's almost there, but it's not quite all the way there yet with this one.
I think it'll be interesting to see, especially if he's en route to get his 4th #1 album. So, if you get another #1 album, you're kind of like, well, I must have did something right.
Yeah.
So,
but I think he had to have seen.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like a microcosm of how people have been talking about Drake recently, also, where it's like the numbers say one thing, but then the reception seems to be a bit muted on the ground level. Yeah. How do you square those two things?
And what's the long tail of, obviously you get the instant, sort of prize out there, but does it hang on for weeks, months? Is it, especially coming out in January, is it in conversation at the end of the year, top albums of the year or Grammys or whatever, milestone you're looking at, like those things in the long run too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, as we continue to charge forward, somebody that's leading the conversation right now, hottest rapper of 2025.
Hey.
Mr. LiAngelo Ball. Whoa. I've been swerving on the corner ball. Come on.
7 days. We ready to.
We are talking about
hottest rapper of the
Jello,
week. Okay.
Brother, one half of the Ball brothers, in case you guys have not.
1/3.
Don't do that.
Oh, I was thinking about him and Lonzo in terms of collaborating. Shout out to LaMelo. Shout out to LaMelo. All-star season he's having. They're 7-25, but shit, he's still hooping. LiAngelo put out Tweaker, and if you guys haven't seen it, I want to say it's a little bit of nostalgic. Nelly meets Cash Money, a little sprinkle of Boozy in there, and it's everywhere on social media. The writers include LiAngelo and his brother, Lonzo Ball, point guard for the Chicago Bulls.
Did the brother say? I thought he said he didn't.
He said all you can credit me with is the cover art, is what he says.
It's interesting to say that because Lonzo, when he first got drafted, was rapping and putting out tracks. So
yeah.
It's interesting.
He was the rapper.
Now he gonna walk back this fact check. But I know he said he wasn't, but was.
But either way, numbers like freaking Tweakers at 3 million on YouTube, and it was surpassing some tracks on Lil Baby's album.
All right, let's relax.
So, on YouTube, that's what they showing.
Let's relax.
That's what they showing on YouTube. So
Terrible.
I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts. He's getting co-signed from like the Detroit Lions, the Brooklyn Nets. You have Moneybagg Yo and Boosie offering their services to get on the track. Is this song truly a banger, or are we blowing it out of proportions?
Both? Like both of them? Both options? It's a banger. Like, it sounds great. It's a very fun song. Like, I don't know what the verses are. I don't really listen to the verses, but it's a very catchy song, and it sounds like some shit that came out when I was in college, and I love it for that. But people are wilding, bro. People are wilding.
I think it's a banger. Right, I think it's a banger, but I also do think probably our reaction is being colored by who LiAngelo Ball is.
Yeah,
I'm not sure this song makes this kind of impact if any random nigga drops it. But it's still a banger regardless. For me, like, I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy that he like launched a actual viral hit like 3 days into the new year, like just hit the ground running. But I think what's cool is that it's given younger audiences like a legitimate hip hop moment. Like, this chick came up on World Star Hip Hop on YouTube first before it went to streaming.
Shout out to World Star,
that's dope. Like, I haven't thought of World Star Hip Hop in so many years. Like, that's really cool that's where he went first before it went to DSPs. Like, there's a whole class of hip hop listeners that don't have those experiences and can only talk about those experiences based on what they've read. So for them to have one of those of their own, that's really dope. When those locker room moments, everyone's going crazy over this new banger. Like, I think that's really cool. A nice lighthearted way to enter the year. Would love to hear Boozy on it. Don't really want to hear Moneybag on it. I don't really care to hear that at all. No shade, Moneybag.
I would love to hear Moneybag.
You keep doing you. But yeah,
We're
also
enemies
just like
all day on this shit. You know?
I'm really trying to
No
just see
reason.
what this means for like the further melding of sports and music in 2025. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, we got the Super Bowl coming up, and we got Angel Reese on this Vogue cover. Like, it's shaping up to be a massive year on that front. So,
Yeah.
LiAngelo is just, a couple steps ahead.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with Jello that he is already being courted by major labels, and we're only a week and a half into this. He just got asked to do Rolling Loud LA, which he accepted. I heard, sources saying he's gonna have a busy All-Star weekend as well. So, I just feel for my brother Dame Lillard, Dame, because you got cats out here that've been doing it for years.
But as I said,
You know what I'm saying?
If Dame was not so good at basketball, people would take his rapping more seriously.
Is there also
It's
a Dame
weird.
track that's as clear cut as a banger?
There's that question.
Yeah.
Talented rapper.
Which is a
No
huge
comment.
question.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, no, I think realistically, Trevor, like when you look at the tracking, can this actually sustain and become something?
I mean, that's like the hardest question to answer, just because we know how stuff can blow up so quick, and then a week late, like I think I mentioned this to you before, like I guess was it last year? I remember like when Lil Yachty's Poland came out, that was like a crazy thing for a week. I thought like the little, on the what?
It was a cultural hit,
and I was like, okay, wait a minute,
Yachty's that
Yachty's
shit for weeks.
really starting to come through. Like it's coming through on the right places, on TikTok, all that kind of stuff, and it was huge for like a week and a half, and then it kind of just stopped. So I'm not saying this is going to be the track for this, but it's hard to tell 5 days in how much long tail this has. Right now, of course, it's getting hotter and hotter, and you sign on with the label. I don't know if they'll try to push this to radio or try to amplify this even bigger. Sometimes that can work against it, when you get the machine. Some people want to feel like it's organic and really want to are invested in that language. So when you get a little too commercial, sometimes people kind of, all right, sold out, got a big check. So we'll see what the options are. I do think something like like Rolling Loud, those kind of bookings are actually really good because part of me is like, okay, to what Dame was kind of saying, maybe are we doing too much too quick with this? But at the same time,
Yes, we are.
Okay, it lands live.
But at the same time, we like to criticize some of these institutions for not jumping on things. You see this is moving. You see it has numbers. You see it has impact. You see, Angel Reese and everybody out there making TikToks, and within 2-3 days, everybody's talking about it. So why wouldn't you jump on this thing that clearly people are interested in?
Not mad at people jumping on it, but it's like when people start saying shit like, "Oh, he's like out streaming Baby." I'm like,
he is.
What are we like? Why?
To be fair, you brought up Baby's album getting played in an Atlanta airport. I feel like that should be expected. Like, I would be shocked if they weren't playing the Baby album.
I said that because people on Twitter were saying like, no one's playing this album. It's not getting any burn. This album sucks.
But you go to Hartsfield Jackson.
Yeah,
and they spin it
like
in Terminal.
That would move me more.
You go to Terminal D.
Like, I wouldn't be impressed by watching to Bodega and the Bronx they playing the New A Boogie joint. Like, I'm expecting
that would be fire.
But Springfield, y'all bumping the New A Boogie. Okay, like but, maybe it is moving.
And so the question is, are people in Chino Hills, LA, playing Swerve?
They swerving them corners. Hell yeah!
Like that. Like, yo, if a random rapper we didn't know came out of Chino Hills, LA and made this song, what would we say?
We would laugh and be like, why the fuck are you trying to do New Orleans cosplay? But hey, that's not what happened.
I will say this. If I was a hater and I look at that Rolling Loud lineup and I see Jello, he is very high up.
Very high up.
On that bill. I'm fucking sick. And I'm an LA rapper, I'm fucking sick. Who's been putting in work for 10 years, I am sick.
Like,
yeah.
But you gotta maybe it's rising tides, because hey, look, he's hot. The marketing's out there. Cat's gonna come, and maybe they stick around. See, Yo said you get some fans off it too.
I don't want to hear shit about Ian ever again.
Look,
but to Dame's point, if I'm a nigga that's been out here grinded trying to make a Rolling Loud bill, make the festival, and I see Jello on there.
Well, you need to link up with G Poozy and whoever who produced it. I don't know who produced it. Start with a G.
Shout out to G
I'm sorry, I do not.
Bro.
You know what?
Let me find it.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
because
G
let me.
Poozy.
Yeah.
Don't do my man
Glocky
dirty like
cheese.
that.
Glocky. Sorry.
Cause listen,
My man.
they about to be hot 100. You know what I'm saying? Stamped. Y'all better get their names
Maybe.
blackish
Kunika
ass.
and Glock.
Glocky
You need to
cheese.
hook up with Kunika and Glock
Kunika is
and Glocky
crazy.
cheese. Kunika sound like Monica
Kunika
cousin
sound
or
like-
something. Like Kunika.
Gunica?
They finna get the biggest royalty check of their life, though. I guarantee you that.
I do wonder if like this not having a super big snippet lead time will help it, because I feel like quite a few songs kind of got kneecapped by being snippets circulating for like several
Yeah.
months, and then when they hit streaming, the moment had passed. But this only was circulating for like 4 or 5 days before it hit YouTube, so that might help it. I
It's that Jack
can't think of
Harlow
another
effect.
like single that had such a quick lead time in such recent months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People seem to be dropping those teasers forever, but
Yeah.
like this was like real touch and go.
And I mean, look, being a Lee Ball helps. So
Yeah. And
Who's Ian's manager? Boo?
is it?
Isn't Boo Ian's manager? Or isn't he
You
like?
talking about Akon's brother Boo?
Yeah.
Really?
Am I bugging?
I didn't know that. That's kind of nuts.
I have no idea.
Oh, I thought that was like that was
Okay.
no, all right, we'll scratch that.
Yeah,
then.
I mean,
he was like defending him heavy
No, I
when
didn't-
everyone was shitting on him. So I thought that was like
I just wanted to see the young brother win, man.
I'm just saying like
Which one?
Ian.
oh.
I be rooting for young talent.
There's enough
I be rooting for young talent.
I think like the next time a random rapper pops up who is seemingly pulling from references they have no idea about, everyone should just remember this moment and be like, we allowed this to happen.
We did.
We allowed this to happen.
I turned a
This
blind
nigga rapping
eye.
like
I
Nelly.
did.
He's from fucking
Because he's black.
Chino Hills.
God honest truth.
Listen, we are rooting for you, Jello.
Great song.
New record comes out Friday,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
be
a
ready.
quick
2 for
turnaround
2
for the
loaded.
sophomore.
and it sounds like a banger too.
if he goes 2 for 2 in 2 weeks,
It's
Hey.
smart though. It's
Hottest
just,
rapper
he is really the
2025.
hottest
If
rapper
you
in
have-
here so
Damn,
if
far.
you have
baby.
the opportunity, go for it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I mean yeah.
Why not?
Shout out to Jello Ball. We'll be,
Shout out to the dad too.
Shout out to
Man,
LeVar.
3 for 3.
3 for 3.
LeVar saw
really-
it through.
He saw it through, man. Black dads for the win. Before we go, we got to give a special shout out to Miss Beyonce Knowles, who had an incredible halftime performance
Shut it down.
Yeah.
on Christmas. Left us with some, potential, news. January 14th. What is happening that day, we do not know. But we're going to do our best for this lightning round to give y'all some predictions. We will kick it off with Brother Kyle. What do you think is happening?
This is the thing where she said, "Look at that horse."
Yeah.
Yeah, that horse, January
Waving the flag
14th.
and-
Well,
and-
y'all can head over to billboard.com to look at a list I just put out of 10 possible things she could be announcing next week.
Okay.
But I'm putting my money behind Act 3. I think we'll move on to the next act of this 3-act trilogy project. I think that the blood red, kind of like gothic font at the teaser was a signal that we're moving away from the Western aesthetics and into something a bit more rock adjacent. I'm taking those Halloween costumes of Prince and Betty Davis as hints towards more rock funk music on the way and less cowboy stuff. It did feel kind of like a celebratory cap, the Beyonce Bowl also.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like if there was something Cowboy Carter related coming, she would have just announced it instead of announcing a date for something else.
Yeah.
But my money's on Act 3, so I hope that is where we're headed next week.
I like that. Trev?
I have no analysis on that kind of level. I know Kyle then dissected all the clues, and that's what you kind of got to do with Beyonce. I'm gonna just say what I hope is. I would like to see a residency announced. I think in particular, if we're going with the continuing the Cowboy Carter theme, because I can't imagine she's just gonna do one performance and not even all the songs and kind of say that's the end of that era, given how much time and effort and years it got into it. But I think if in particular the rodeo motif that's going on, rodeo in some ways can be a traveling circus, but like if the Houston rodeo or something, that is a very integral part of the early culture in the town. It's something that happens in February, March, so not too far off from something that would have a January announcement. I think because it's such an American sort of Southern tradition, having people travel to come see it and probably just doing more with the spectacle and enjoyment of it in a place rather than making it a traveling show where that kind of limits to some degree what you can do with it. I just think that, she's going to plant somewhere, bring everybody to whether it's Houston, whether it's Vegas, wherever, but center that on being her town for the year, get that rodeo Western theme, ride it all the way through. And I just think, especially because we haven't seen her do a residency before, you know, she's always looking to do something different, change it up, switch it up. I think that is the perfect play for 2025.
Wow. Those are great ones. Dang.
I mean, those are.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
I'm leaning on y'all.
So
yeah.
I don't know. Because they already said it. I don't know. I'll say Tweaker remix.
Hell yeah.
With
Tweaker remix featuring
with
Beyonce,
Miss B.
Shabuzi, and Linda Martell. Let's fucking
and
go.
Linda.
Let's fucking go.
Holy shit.
Bending corners on that horse.
Hey, yo. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, if it wasn't a residency, I was going to say a tour, but I think, love you, Dame. I don't know about the Tweaker, but I like where y'all are going.
Yeah, I think it's one of those.
Yeah. I think it's
definitely
definitely one of those. Wow, Act 3, and I think after Act 3, that's probably put a bow on it.
Damn, she going to
say we're not going to see her for a
decade.
minute.
Yeah. Would it be safe to say after Act 3 she's call it a career
for a while?
I think she'll probably pump the brakes a bit and wait for the kids to get to like the end of high school, college-ish. But she loves this shit.
I think the next time we see her, it's going to be a completely different idea of Beyonce.
Right.
And even if it takes 6 years till the next Beyonce solo album, last time she had a gap that long, we still got the Lion King album, Everything Is Love, and Before I Let Go, and Homecoming. Like, she'd be busy.
Yeah,
so.
True. Well, thank you, Miss Beyonce Knowles. We love you. Shout out to the Queen. And we will see what happens January 14th. So we appreciate y'all for riding with us. First episode of 2025.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Feels real good. And we will see y'all next week. Later, y'all.
Peace.